Serious, hello scientists of Reddit, what's a scary science fact that the public knows nothing about? In 1958, a 7,600 pounds nuclear bomb was lost off the Georgia coast near Savannah. It's never been found. There is a gravitational anomaly in space called the Great Attractor which is pulling everything within the Virgo and Hydrus and Taurus superclusters towards it. It lies 150 to 250 million light-years from the Milky Way, which itself is being pulled towards it too. The scary part is that relative to us, this anomaly lies within the same plane as our own galaxy, making it very difficult to observe. Essentially, we have almost no concrete idea of what it is. Scientific literature conclusion on Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative diseases in general is that the diseases start decades before the first obvious symptoms and that we need to treat them at this stage. When you exhibit obvious symptoms, it's too late, your brain is already mush. If you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 65, you had the disease since your early 40s at least. And you experienced very mild symptoms but didn't notice it. And your brain fought like hell to compensate the deficit. When you get diagnosed, your brain is already very severely damaged and will never recover from the deficit. Hearing is supposedly one of the last senses to fade upon death based on EEG, brainwave recordings. What is the most interesting statistic or fact you know? One fact that I always love sharing is that ravens and wolves will work together to find food. The ravens act as scouts for the wolf pack, and when they find an animal, dead or alive, they will use a special call to alert the pack of the direction of the food. Really interesting stuff. If the entire world participated in a single elimination rock-paper-scissors tournament, it would be over in 33 rounds. The average person believes they are smarter than the average person. New Yorkers bite more people a year than sharks do. The Olympic flag's colors are always red, black, blue, green, and yellow rings on a field of white. This is because at least one of those colors appears on the flag of every nation on the planet. The first person ever ticketed for speeding was going 8 miles per hour. There's one bone in the human body that doesn't articulate, touch, any other bone. It's the hyoid bone in your neck. I read this in a book in college and it has always stuck with me. 90% of the world population, past and current, will die within 200 miles of where they were born. What fact do you know that makes people go, why the F do you know that? It was an annual tradition for the Pharaoh of Egypt to masturbate into the Nile with an audience. A co-worker told me one day, "You'll know when it's truly the first day of spring because lake water will warm up and make any dead bodies in the lake float to the top surface due to bacteria." He continued with, except for in Lake Superior where the water temperature never gets warm enough to build bacteria in a dead body. And that's one co-worker I'll never make mad right there. The first Pong machine was dropped off at a local tavern owned by friends of one of the developers for a test run. After a few days, the game started to malfunction. The tavern owner called one of the devs, Alan Alcorn, to come fix it, and when Alcorn got there it was discovered that it was malfunctioning because it was too full of quarters. Dragonflies are the most effective hunter on the planet, catching 95% of the prey they go after. In Massachusetts it's illegal to consume more than 3 sandwiches at a funeral. The most random law I've ever heard about. What mind-blowing, but simple, facts would satisfy a 4-year-old daughter's daily request for one fact before bedtime. Dogs can tell when you're coming home by how much of your scent is left in the house, if you have a daily routine. Most people have more than the average number of arms. Otters have skin pockets for their favorite rocks. Bees tell their friends about good nearby flowers by dancing. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig. If you have any, you have to have at least 2. They get lonely. There are more stars than there are grains of sand on all the beaches in the world. Cows can walk upstairs, but they can't walk down. It takes a little over 8 minutes for the light from the sun to get to Earth. Humans are bioluminescent and glow in the dark, but the light that we emit is 1,000 times weaker than our human eyes are able to pick up. What's a let that sink in fun fact? We can't prove we aren't in a simulation. Since its discovery, in 1930, Pluto has not yet made a full orbit of the Sun. Cows kill more Americans than terrorists. Most years. Probably too late for this to be seen. But if you take into account the fact that on average people sleep, or should sleep, 8 hours a day, when you get 99 years of age, you will have only been awake for 66 years, having spent 33 years of your life sleeping. That's why I always stay up late. As you get closer to black hole, time goes slower. This means that everything farther away would experience time faster and faster as you get closer and closer to the black hole. A second for you could be a billion years for those outside of it. Thus, if you fell into a black hole and looked outside, you would see the universe die with you. Fruit Loops are all the same flavor. Next to the U.S. Army, Disney World is the largest buyer and importer of explosives in the USA. There are more tigers privately owned in Texas than tigers in the wild. It took humanity approximately 4 times longer to switch from copper swords to steel swords than it took to switch from steel swords to nuclear bombs. What is a very interesting or odd psychological phenomenon or fact? The frequency illusion/Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. The frequency illusion is when you start noticing something for the first time and suddenly it appears that this something suddenly crops up everywhere. In reality, this is not true. A good example is not currently trending, word you heard for the first time. Suddenly you read and hear this word all the time. Your brain kind of defrags irrelevant information. If you go on a long, uneventful drive, you might only remember the first and last 10 minutes, or something unusual in between, but your brain deems it pointless. It happens actively too, like how your nose is usually erased from your vision, or you don't really smell your own smells. I was reminded of this today. It's possible for the human brain to read an incorrect sentence properly by filtering out excessive words. For instance, there were 2 of the word "the" in the first line. What are some very comforting facts? Jupiter's gravitational mass is so immense, modern science believe it's been protecting us from meteors for millions of years. It's highly likely your pet dreams of you in their sleep. All of the cardigans Mr. Rogers wore on camera were knit by his mother. Goldfish can recognize their owners. Damn, he has been watching you this whole time and you didn't even know. Bees take naps in flowers. So yeah, it's okay to need a nap, even busy bees do. Scientists have discovered that rats love playing hide and seek and squeal with joy when finding/being found. In dog/wolf movies where they use real-life dog actors, the people who have to edit all that sometimes have to add CGI tails because they dogs can't stop wagging their tail as they are so happy. Cows have best friends. The word for penguin in Mandarin translates to business goose. Serious, what is illegal but most people don't even know it? In Arizona it is illegal to hunt whales. Arizona is a desert and landlocked on all sides. In Alaska it's illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they deer hunt. It's illegal to cross the border into Nevada with a duck on your head. Chico, CA, it's a $500 fine to make or have a nuclear weapon within city limits. Washing oil paint down the sink. It can contaminate drinking water. Tickling someone without their consent is a form of assault. But yeah. Carrying a permanent marker or other permanent staining stationery is illegal in many countries under graffiti laws. In my state, CT, it's illegal to sell pickles that don't bounce. Owning more than 6 dildos in Texas. What's a made-up fact that sounds real? Lifesavers candy was invented to help prevent choking deaths. The idea behind them was that, if the candy should become lodged in the throat, there would still be a small hole in the center for air to pass through. They were literally life-saving. Monocles with 2 lenses are called bionicles. NERF is an acronym for non-expanding recreational foam. Each year, sharks kill more people than toasters. That one's true though. Sharks don't kill any toasters. I have no idea what's even real anymore after reading this thread. I don't believe that. What is a not fun fact? Bus seats are designed so that you cannot tell how dirty they really are. People who survive the Holocaust and get Alzheimer's often think they are back in the camps. So they escape one of humanity's greatest horrors only to die in it 50 years later. If you are an identical twin, it is possible that you and your siblings' identities were swapped and your parents never caught it. Sometimes you're the bad guy. When you get a sunburn, it's actually your cells dying so they don't get tumorous. In the United States, roughly 1/3 of all food is thrown away each year. Horses can't throw up, so if they eat something bad or get a bad gas bubble, they just lay down and die. Valentine's Day is a holiday with one of the highest suicide rates. The FBI estimates there are between 25 to 50 active serial killers in the U.S. at any given time. What are some not-so-fun facts? Absolute perfect health is merely the slowest rate at which you are dying. The TSA missed 96% of contraband during an inspection in 2015. A dolphin is more likely to rape than help or ignore you if you're drowning. Some tumors grow teeth and hair. The creator of Plants vs. Zombies was fired from EA because he hated the idea of microtransactions. Everyone celebrates their birthday each year. But we also have a death day we unknowingly pass each year, but because it doesn't happen we don't know which day. Your bones are wet.